Good morning, Facebook. This is Mike Bloomfield, your friendly neighborhood IT guy here. And I wanted to come on live. I'm actually working from home today, have a little bit of a cold, so avoiding the office to try not to infect people, and we're going to have to wear my mask the whole day. But that is something that's going to change, right? Now what you're going to see is afternoon, whatever, morning, afternoon, Dave. But will that change due to COVID, right? When you have a cold, be able to work remotely, not go into the office rather than make everyone sick. So hopefully that's something that will change and we'll see. But that's not what we're talking about today. I got my little helper while I'm working from home in the background. Hi, say hi. All right. So Adrian is behind me. But I wanted to come live to kind of talk about what's in the news today. It's all over the news. If you have an idea, I'm actually telling you in the ticker what's in the news. But it's ransomware, and like more ransomware. I just want to show you. Let's go over this because this affects every business owner out there, whether you want to believe it or not. So let me get my screen share up. So I'm going to go through some tabs we have here. First off, Google. You search ransomware. You pull up the news. These are all from pretty much in the past 48 hours. It is blowing up. And I have opened up a number of tabs, which we will go through. But this is it. It's pages and pages of news articles about ransomware. So let's kind of take a step back just to summarize, right? About 3-4 weeks ago, we had the Colonial Pipeline ransomware hack that affected the infrastructure for the gas pipeline, making the potential for gas shortages, gas price rises, and everything else that happened. And luckily, we got out of that. And then 2 weekends ago was the biggest meat distributor in the whole United States was hit with a ransomware attack. And basically now affecting meat distribution and meat prices rising, potential for meat shortages and everything else that goes with it. Then we found out in New York City last week that in April, the MTA was actually had a breach and their systems were breached. I believe it was on 2 different days, 2 different systems. And they were breached by hackers. I believe theirs was Chinese hackers. But it's becoming more and more. And let's go through some of these articles. So first off, this is huge to a business. U.S. is to treat ransomware like terrorism. Now, here's the problem with that. A lot of business owners like to rely on the fact of their cybersecurity insurance. So what is cybersecurity insurance? That's not the office. Don't worry, it's not Gigi. So cybersecurity breach insurance is an insurance policy that a business owner takes and to protect them. God forbid there's a cyber breach, a hack, a ransomware attack, right? The first call, if in any breach response plan, it should be before anything is done needs to be to your insurance provider if you have one of these policies. However, as we all know, what insurance companies like to do is to get out of paying, right? If they can, if there's a way for them to get out of it, they want to get out of it. Well, in those policies, acts of terrorism and acts of God are excluded, just like in everything else, in all different types of policies. Well, if the U.S. begins to stamp ransomware as terrorism, the insurance carriers will right away stop paying for these ransomware attacks, and you can no longer just use that, which it was never designed to be. It wasn't designed for a business owner to simply be able to say, I don't need to protect my infrastructure. I have a security, insurance policy. Well, now it's even harder to get a cybersecurity policy. You have to go through an assessment. You have to prove that you're doing best steps. You just can't be negligent and get paid out by the insurance carrier. Well, to make matters worse, if it is stamped as terrorism, the insurance carrier isn't going to pay. They're going to use that as their way out. Act of God or terrorism, they're not going to cover it. So this is huge news for a business owner. Well, what else? Hit by a ransomware attack, here's what to do. So this was on CNN Business, kind of talks about that. It's a good thing. We talk about this all the time, but like we spoke about, look, there's been an increase of about 150% in ransom and extortion claims between 2018 and 2020. And they talk about it's harder and more expensive, the ability to get in policies, but this is right there. And the AIG itself gives a list of 25 questions specific to their protections against ransomware. To even get a policy, you have to be putting it together and putting these protections in place. You just can't go get a cybersecurity policy and be like, oh, that's it. I don't have to worry about it. My insurance covers me. They don't. What else? Ransomware attacks are here to stay. Urges businesses to prepare. This is what is, they are here to stay. I know I say this all the time, and I hate it being a scare tactic. And I don't want you to think of this as Mike Bloomfield is here to give a scare tactic to try to force me into a managed IT service contract with Techie Geek. No, it doesn't matter if it's with me or another IT provider, but your business needs to take security seriously. Look, ultimately, I hope that you trust me and my team at Techie Geek are the heroes to help minimize your risk, because no insurance provider could guarantee to guarantee that you won't be hit with a ransomware attack. And it's no longer a matter of kind of if I'll be hit, but when will I be hit, and what will my response be to this disaster? But no matter who your IT provider is, you need to take IT seriously. You need to take the security of your business together and really answer the hard questions. If you lose your data, will your business survive? Yes. So a Colonial Pipeline was hit. The meat distribution, these major enterprises are hit. They're going to survive an attack. Your small business, if you lose all of your data, will you survive an attack? Will your business survive, or will you go out of business? More likely, the small business will be the one to go out of business compared to an enterprise. Even though they have a lot more data and a lot more on the line, that small business is a harder time to recover. What's going on? She's playing some game back there. So it is important that you prepare for these types of attacks. So let's keep walking along. The FBI director compares ransomware challenges to 9/11. The FBI director is saying that these ransomware attacks and the vulnerability of the U.S. energy infrastructure and to future attacks and other attacks is the same type of challenge, if not worse, than the challenge of stopping terrorism at post 9/11. So for us here in Staten Island and New York and Jersey, who are so close to ground zero of 9/11, to think we're on live. You gotta sit down and play, and we'll talk. We'll jump up in a couple of minutes. So the FBI is comparing ransomware challenge to 9/11. All right, again. So we have them saying that businesses have to, ransomware attacks are here to stay. Your businesses need to prepare. And this is comparing it to the challenge of 9/11. Is your business taking it seriously? Are you protecting your infrastructure? Are you just hoping, putting your head in the sand and hoping? Again, I hate the scare tactic, but it's more education. You need to take this seriously, and I'm begging of you. I hate those calls that after the disaster strikes and it's too late. And unfortunately, ransomware, it's too late if you allow it to happen and you don't have those proper protections in play. Let's keep going. So how cyber criminals hold data hostage, why the best solution is often paying the ransom. So this was a 60 Minutes yesterday. On 60 Minutes, they spoke about only ransomware, and we're talking about, well, it was often, sometimes businesses feel it's just best to pay the ransom. We know you don't always get your data back. We know that is not the way to do it. And let's jump into this one. The Energy Secretary backs a ban on ransomware payments. You are encouraging the bad actors. By paying these terrorist organizations, you're encouraging them to continue. Thank you. You're encouraging them to continue. They are criminals. When you're paying the criminals, it's making the criminals want to keep going. So there is now a discussion, and there's been a discussion for some time, to ban ransomware payments because you are encouraging. It will be illegal. They are terrorist organizations. you could be held in a felony by paying them. Yes. Okay, you go upstairs. So hackers behind the JBS ransomware have a new extortion tactic. So this is another article on Fox Business talking about the JBS ransomware attack, what's going on, how they're doing it. The FBI has released a statement on, with the recent rapid increase in ransomware attacks against private sector businesses. This isn't government, this is private sector. It doesn't matter your location or your size. You could be a 1 person, a 15 person, 100 person, a 5,000 person business. You are at risk. And the FBI is warning you, and this is a top priority. But unfortunately, the FBI can't protect you from ransomware. It's your job to accept it and to put the policies in place and the tool stack in place to protect your organization. The FBI could try to make this illegal. They're going to try to put down these organizations, but just like terrorist cells, they will continue to pop up. The FBI will not be here to protect you. They'll be here to investigate it. They're going to be here to make recommendations, but it's up to you as a business owner in order to accept that you need to pull your head out of the sand and to take security seriously to protect yourself. So ransomware attacks show we're getting clobbered on cybersecurity. So this is from The Hill. Again, this is 7 articles out of hundreds that were in the past 24 hours. Again, you could go to Google, simply type ransomware, select news, and just see all the news come out. But ransomware attacks show we are getting clobbered on cybersecurity. Our businesses are being clobbered. The Colonial Pipeline had a job rec out for a security director. They didn't fill that position. And look what happened. By having an open position and having an open security hole, they were able to fall victim to a major ransomware attack that put the organization at risk. And not only the organization, all of its clients and all of the users that require the use of that gas pipeline. Who's that? It's every one of you. Every one of you that has gas car. It's now the ransomware attacks are just not affecting the businesses. They're affecting the users of that business. So if you're an accountant out there and you get hit with a ransomware attack, that doesn't just affect your business. That ultimately affects every one of your clients. And depending on how far of a breach and a data disaster, that could exponentially grow because it could affect your clients, their clients, clients, depending on how much data is accessed and the disruption to the ultimate business. You need to take this seriously. And again, I hate doing the scare tactic. That is not my goal here. My goal isn't to scare you into security. I just want you to understand this is important. And you look at the news. It's all over the news. It's plastered on FBI's Twitter feed with a warning, June 4th, 2021. I've been screaming this for years now to business owners. The FBI is screaming and letting you know you need to take this seriously. So finally, we have put together, and let me throw a link to this, a all-new cybersecurity grade test. So let's think of it. If you're a business located in New York, right? You're a restaurant in New York. You're walking into a restaurant with your family. And you get to the front door of that restaurant and you see a C grade. What do? I'll tell you what you do. Like most of us, you look at that C grade and you turn yourself around and you walk the other way. Because, well, if the health department is giving this a C letter grade, why would I want to go in that restaurant? And let's be honest. Most of us question going into restaurants with a B grade. When it comes to your health, we all like to go to restaurants that have an A. So why is it any different when it comes to security? Do you want to trust a business that has your social security number, your credit card number, your personal data, your medical records? If they don't have a security grade of A, well, the problem is the health department has put together these regulations that A restaurant has to have this letter grade on. There's no way around it, right? Even if you have a C, you have to have that C plastered on the door. It's not optional. Well, we don't have that currently when it comes to the cybersecurity of a business. Doesn't mean we won't get there. Look at the New York Shield Act, which is basically a business has to alert its end users and the federal government or the state government of a cyber breach within a certain amount of time. Transparency. Well, what we made was a page, cybersecuritygrade.com, that allows you to take a quiz and find out, how strong is your cybersecurity? Where do you fall as a business? And I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is. So do you currently have an in-house or outsourced IT provider? Of course I do. We use TechGeek. Have you performed a cybersecurity risk assessment over the past 12 months? Well, you should be if you aren't. But yeah, of course, we are. Our business is. Do your employees use their own personal phone or laptops to work on company networks, whether in the office or at home? No. Can you answer the same? Do you have cybersecurity guidelines, practices for employees to follow? So do you have these policies for an employee? Do you limit the access to certain files and folders to specific employees? Or does everyone have access to all the data? Well, I hope not everyone has access to all the data, right? Customer service shouldn't have access to your accounting data and vice versa. So we do privilege access management. If you gave most employees have access to most data, which unfortunately seems to be most businesses that we perform assessments out, you would be B. If all data is accessible to anyone who wants to look at it, public or whatever, then be C. Has anyone in your company fallen for a phishing scam attack before? Well, has anyone fallen for a phish? That means you clicked the phish and gave data. 95% of businesses and employees, have at least one employee that has fallen for a phish. Has your business ever had a data breach? So what is a data breach? That means your email was hacked and a hacker had access to your email, a remote access into your environment. A ransomware attack would be a data breach. Any of that would be considered a data breach. Has your business ever suffered from a ransomware attack or a computer virus? Yes or no? Do your employees have to undergo periodic cybersecurity training? Employees are the weakest link. That's why it's super important that all of your employees are going through ongoing training to help them be aware of what to look for, zero-day exploits, phishing attacks, and you need to be the one phishing your employees to know who is the weakest link. Would every member of your staff know how to identify a phishing email? Can you honestly say yes, 100% can identify a phishing email? Most yes, really not sure. You hope so, or I highly doubt every member can. Are you using a business class firewall in your office? So are you using the Verizon, the Spectrum, the Optimum router that comes with your internet? Then hit no. Are you using a Netgear or a Linksys that you purchased at Best Buy? Hit no. If you're not sure, hit not sure. Are you using a Sophos, a SonicWall, which unfortunately through today's day, a SonicWall is nowhere the type of a business class firewall you should have in your organization. Years ago it was, but SonicWalls now are very lacking. Are you using an OmniWAN, another SD-WAN with a Omni Shield? So yes. Do you use business enterprise class antivirus on your computers? And it's multi-stack. It's not just no longer, it used to be back, I have Norton's, I have McAfee. Yes. Do we invest in a business level antivirus endpoint protection? Advanced endpoint protection. Do you require the use of 2FA, multi-factor, right? That's important. Even if you get my password, if you don't have my second-hand device, you can't multi-factor into my accounts. And everything, all web, anything of importance on the web and local needs to be MFA protected. And does your organization have any computers still running Windows 7 or below or any other outdated? Well, they definitely should not. And do you use the same or similar passwords, right? So that's what happens. When you fall for a phish, your password gets entered into a database and it's computer programs and bots that attempt to log in on bank sites and everywhere else. That is why it's extremely important that you use a password management system and you do not share passwords. Every password should be unique. So, okay. And are your employees required to change their password periodically? Now, this is a mixed bad. Years ago, it was always recommending 90 days, should be the kind of that password recycling. With 2FA, it's now saying that you no longer need to require the password periodically because when you force people to change the password, they tend to write it down and put it in places where they shouldn't be. And with 2FA, you allow them to use that password they want because you have that second form of protection. So it really depends. And do you have a password management tool? Every business should have a password management tool to share passwords. And have you ever run a dark web scan on your business, right, to see if anyone in your organization has leaked passwords on the dark web? If you have not, reach out to us in the comments, and we will reach out and perform a dark web scan of your business for you for free if you mention this live stream. And have you ever been notified your information was on the dark web? I have. Pretty much everyone has information on the dark web. It's knowing that your information is on the dark web and changing it. And do you have a disaster recovery emergency plan in place in the event of a data breach, server crash? Every business needs to have a disaster recovery plan. And how often do you back up your data? I love when we do assessments. People are like, we back up once every 6 months, or we back up once a month. Oh, no. With a true business continuity plan, you should be backing up every few minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and put my email in there. I like it. Techie Geek has a cybersecurity grade of an A+. You passed with flying colors. Well, we're going to revamp this. This is new. This came out on Friday. So cybersecuritygrade.com, absolutely free. Go ahead and get your cybersecurity grade. See what your business would fall. Answer the questions honestly. This isn't going anywhere. This isn't being published. But it's a way for you to go ahead and do a quick, assessment and see what is your ultimate business cybersecurity grade. And if you are an A or an A+, you should be striving to be at an A+ if you're going to beat this ransomware game. So it's super easy. It takes about 3 minutes to complete the form. Cybersecuritygrade.com. I'm dropping that in the comments as well. Go ahead, take it. If you're getting A+, proudly put it out there. If you don't get an A+, we are here to help you. We are here to help with your IT, to help minimize your risk, perform the necessary assessments, and put together and implement the proper security stack to help your organization to minimize your risk from a breach and a ransomware and a cyber disaster. Remember, I can never guarantee that we will completely stop you. Any IT business that says they are guaranteeing you will never be hit with a breach or a cyber attack, ransomware, unfortunately, they're lying to you. It's not possible. It's no longer a matter of if, it's when. It's knowing the processes and the steps are in place to minimize that risk and to minimize the damage if the worst does happen. So, again, look, check out the news. It's all about ransomware. Please, as a business owner, I'm begging you, take your head out of the sand and protect your business now before it's too late. I hate having the conversations after the fact and being the one to tell a business owner, I'm very sorry. You needed to do this 6 months ago. Now that you had an employee fall for the fish and you're hit with a ransomware attack, there's nothing you can do other than potentially pay that ransom and maybe get your data back. And guess what? If the government is going to make that illegal, you've just completed a felony. Your cybersecurity policy isn't going to pay for it because it's an act of terrorism. So, and the ransoms are going upwards of $1 to $2 million for, yes, local businesses right here in New York and New Jersey. Small businesses are seeing ransoms of over $1 million. Do you have $1 million to pay for a cyber breach, for a ransom? I could promise you, for most organizations, and especially a small organization, it's a lot less than $1 million to protect your infrastructure. So my name is Mike Bloomfield. I am the President Geek of Techie Geek. We are your friendly neighborhood IT superheroes, and we're here to protect you. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. Please use cybersecuritygrade.com to see how your security fans out. And if you have any questions on how to improve security or anything we spoke about, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And I thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.